Hello there, it's Connal Finlay here, the owner and director of the Cellar store down in New Zealand, and welcome to today's episode of the Cellar TV. So what we're trying today is this fantastic little red wine, which is honestly, it's one of my current favourites at the moment. It's from Italy, it's from Tre Monti, which is the winery there. And so here's a little close-up shot for you. Absolutely beautiful, very modern, very exciting sort of label, I have to say. And this is a Sangiovese. So the particular sub-region that this wine comes from, or is designated under, is Sangiovese di Romagna. So of course, Sangiovese being the grape varietal that they're using, and Romagna being the overarching region. So Romagna is short for Emilia Romagna. Emilia Romagna, for those that aren't particularly familiar with it, it is the region where Lambrusco is from, as well as a few other exciting things, like there's a whole lot of balsamic vinegar production that's very, very important there. And of course, as far as wine is concerned, Lambrusco. Anyway, but as far as where it is, it's, as I say, in the central north, so it's a good few hours north of Florence, which is one of the main cities in that sort of part of the world. Anyway, so Sangiovese is the grape varietal here, and Sangiovese does make up quite a few of the dry red wines that you'll find in that particular region, though of course Sangiovese is most famous, and where most people know about it, it's most famous in the Tuscany region. Here it can make straight Sangioveses, and generally speaking, of course, the other word, or the other region that people look out for when they're looking for Sangiovese wines is Chianti. Chianti Classico, all those sorts of wines, and Brunello di Montalcino and all the rest from from Tuscany, making Sangiovese wines. That's where you're going to find them, often in Tuscany. So what I love is this slightly different, slightly newer take, well, not newer necessarily, but definitely different take on Sangiovese. Now there's something that I think you would have seen it there, but I'll just point it out on the label. It's very modern in the way that it says no wood, only steel, which is kind of interesting. Now this sort of dates back to sort of back in the 80s, the 90s, well, and to a lesser extent early 2000s. Having a lot of oak in your wine was often seen as being much higher quality. So basically lots and lots of oak in red wines, well, red wines in particular, white wines to a lesser degree. As I said, that was often regarded with higher quality, and therefore it was often given higher points by big sort of, well, largely the American wine magazines, such as Wine Spectator and Robert Parker and all the rest. They would often give wines with a lot more body, a lot more sort of, well, concentrated, as I said, there's oaky flavours, and therefore give them higher points, and they could sell their wines for higher prices, and blah, 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 blah. But now, oak does not equal quality. I'd like to point that out here. And so this is actually a bit of a backlash against some of that, in saying that their wines are going to be fruitful, they're going to be a little bit more pure, a little bit more sort of terroir focused, or at least a little bit more fruit focused as opposed to oak focused. So they're basically saying this is wine and only wine, and it's not wine plus oak or anything else like this. So it's quite nice. It does have that little bit of a, it's not necessarily subtle, but it is good to have it in there. Now, of course, the meaning behind all that, perhaps a little bit more political, but for those of you that do like a little bit more of the fruit-forward sort of style of wine as opposed to the oakier style, which in all honesty, I do too, so don't worry about it, it's not a weird thing at all. It is nice to have a little bit of that information on the wine label, because they don't usually have that. So that's good. Anyway, let's give this a little sniff, shall we? Now, what I love about this wine, when I first tried it, well, a few months ago now, but what I'm getting back on it now is just the beautiful fruitful aspect to it. That's beautiful, and it's really does have that real pure Sangiovese character to it. Now, that probably doesn't mean much to most people, but for me, it's just beautiful, because as I say, we usually are used to Sangiovese from Chianti, where it does get a little bit more higher extract in the grapes. There is quite a bit of oak in there, generally speaking, so they are a little bit more on those sort of toasty aspect, those sort of black cherry sort of characteristics, those very, very intense sort of characteristics, not in a bad way at all. But this is the other side of Sangiovese. This is, and actually a good way to describe this wine as far as things go, Syrah from, well, it's a good way to sort of say, is with Syrah in the northern Rhone, generally speaking, it's a little bit more floral, a little bit more fruitful, a little bit more delicate, whereas you have Syrah made in much warmer places, especially Australia, where here they call it Shiraz, and that's a lot more oaky, a lot more intense. And so this is sort of the Syrah side of things. It's not the Shiraz side of things, if that makes sense. Anyway, so for me, it's lots of sort of juicy red plum characteristics. There's almost sort of red currants, black raspberry, and then of course there's beautiful floral characteristics, which are often lost in many a Chianti. They're coming through here. So there's lavender characteristics, sort of dried violet as well, but beautiful sort of those, as I said, those plummy, those pure, juicy, rich red fruit flavors. So let's give a little taste, shall we? It's the wine here. It is rich, and there's lots going on here. It's nice and juicy. But again, it is, since it doesn't have the harsh extraction process of the tannins themselves, or has that extra time in oak, it is soft. It is just so soft. It's almost like a Pinot Noir on the palate. Now, generally speaking, when you're sort of learning about wines, especially Sangiovese, you do learn that Sangiovese is high in acid, which this wine is, but it's also high in tannin. This isn't. This is sort of medium, or medium minus, really, in tannin. It's nice, it's soft, it's silky and smooth on the palate, and as well, it's nice and juicy, it's rich, it's rounded, it's lovely. Everything you sort of want in a red wine. It is slightly fuller in body, I'll give you that, than a Pinot Noir. But the tannins, as I say, they are soft, they're juicy, and they're just, it's easy to drink. I'm going to have to go back and finish this off, I think, if not get a little bit more for myself. It's fantastic. And again, those beautiful fleshy red fruit flavors are coming through, those little bit of cranberry, those beautiful sort of cherry and plummy red plum sort of flavors are coming through. Absolutely lovely. Nice long finish as well, I have to say. Nice long finish. That's cool. It's quite lovely, really. It's quite lovely. And one of the great things about this is not just the fact that it's fruit forward, is that it's only about $25 online. I think it is exactly that online, which is great. So if you are looking for that sort of nice, juicy, rich, fruit forward sort of wine without having that little bit of oak, then this is it. And it's not going to break the bank at all, at only $25 a bottle. So please do check out all the information below. We've got tasting notes, we've got the product link and all the rest down below for this particular wine. And then also find out a little bit more about the winery themselves. We've got, as I said, we've got all the information online for you, and then check out a few of the other interesting white wines that these guys are doing as well, because they are absolutely fantastic. So Tre Monti, as I said, is the winery here. Absolutely love these guys, brand new into the country, which is very exciting. And so of course, please do, as usual, like away, comment away, let us know if you had any other sort of Sangioveses from Emilia Romagna that you absolutely love, or any other Sangioveses from around the world that you're absolutely loving at the moment. If you've tried any of the Tre Monti wines or whatever, please do let us know. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, please do check out a few of our other videos. We've got loads and loads of stuff up now, and subscribe away, because we are constantly adding in more tasting notes and other sort of wine educational videos and all the rest every other week, which is great. So lots of fun content there for you to make your way through. Anyway, so I've been Connal Finlay. This has been the Cellar TV. Cheers.